Culturally Clueless.
All right, guys, a lot has been going on this week. Too much has been going on this week. So make sure to stay tuned. Welcome to Culturally Clueless. Assalamu alaikum. All right, we here. It's Sunday, Monday. Yeah, it's Sunday and Monday, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, for me, it's Monday. For you, it's Monday. For Maria, it's Sunday.
Sunday night.
Yeah.
So how is everyone?
Live in the future.
Yes. And you are even more in the future. So tell us what's going to happen.
Yeah, you can see the daylight. You can see the daylight behind me. What's going to happen? I have no idea, honestly. I'm on a different planet, you know.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
that.
True. How would I forget? How is everyone?
Exactly. I'm good. I'm still in one piece, just like last week. Yeah, and again, I survived another eventful weekend. Eventful is just because, with all the activities that I have to do with, keeping my kids busy. So, again, here I am, ready, and excited. And thanks for having me, Ness.
Oh my God. Keep going. It's just insane. It's insane. This guy literally.
It's been a while since I've said it, so I had to say it again now.
You know how
just
they
to
say,
remind you that I'm so grateful.
No, first of all, what happens in the past stays in the past and we don't go back to it. Maria, how are you?
Okay.
Before you say I didn't ask you and it's rude, how are you?
Pointless.
Or you tell me I choose people over you. So yeah. How are you?
Yeah,
I hope you're amazing and you're great.
Well, we were busy, but because it was an eventful week around the globe, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you participated in all of this? Wow, what a busy week you had.
Following every single thing, especially the topics that we're gonna develop today that we're gonna talk about. Like, has been an exciting weekend. I think actually a historical weekend. The people are gonna talk about it in history books in the future.
Okay, I actually only asked you how you are.
I know, I'm very excited because of that, because I was busy. There was a lot. We are living a lot. Our generation are living through a lot. And it is sad, exciting, and important at the same time. So yeah, I was very consumed with all that. Plus
okay, to make it very short, she is good. That could have been said in 3 words. I'm good to it.
Okay, so I'm gonna remain quiet the rest of the podcast because apparently I cannot talk in the podcast. Okay, so if you not hear me talking, it's because Ness doesn't want me to talk.
Oh my God, I want you to talk as much as you want. And you have to start because you have a question.
I'm gonna remain quiet.
You know what
actually not even my question.
This is funny that, because one of the responses of Maria to the comments was, she said in response to one of the comments was, you are enjoying them bullying me. So now she's trying to get herself bullied even more.
It's the victim culture, guys.
No, I was trying to do a nice answer, but for Ness is too much. So going forward, I'm just gonna remain quiet.
No,
I'm just gonna read a question for Stacy.
If you're gonna remain quiet, I'm just have to blackmail you, and that is
so I'm gonna follow up with a question from Stacy. So Stacy, B1231 is one of our most loyal viewers, and she has a question for me. Thank you, Stacy, for doing my homework. She want you guys to explain how do you deal with rejection. How do you guys feel about rejection, especially when you are turned down by someone that you develop interest for? Like, will you be open with this person, or just be afraid of being rejected?
Yeah, Maria,
that is a question.
You answer first.
But I don't remember being rejected, to be honest with you. for someone that have interest.
Yeah, but are you scared
So
to be rejected?
I don't know. I guess it's gonna be very uncomfortable. So I wouldn't want it to be in that situation. But it hasn't happened. I don't with a take a rest. Depends on the person. Like if someone that had interest in that we are very close friends, I would be afraid of risking the friendship. So, you know, but also you don't do it, you will never know, right? You regret more the things that you haven't done than the things that you do.
But that's the thing. So you don't think
So,
there's beauty in rejection?
I mean, the beauty of the experience. So you
No,
you
no
know,
beauty of actually
no,
knowing.
no. I mean, like I said, you regret more the things that you do than the things that you don't. You know,
Yeah.
you always say like, oh, what is I have. So because of that philosophy, I will take a rest. So I don't always wonder what will happen. Is I.
Very
But
good.
it's scary for sure. Sorry, I talked too much. Go ahead.
I choose you, Maria. Okay, can you just like be normal?
Too late. Let's see what happens.
Okay, I don't choose you then. I choose you back. I unchoose you. Unselect.
Okay, Ray, your turn.
Yeah, well,
Answer
yeah,
Stacy.
yeah. Well, I think, look, first of all, it's just being worried and being like fear the rejection, so that you wouldn't really express your feeling or express what's on your mind to the person that you're interested in. That's also painful. Like, I don't know what is more painful, the rejection itself, or just being silent and just waiting and watching from a distance, right? So I think we can maybe it's easier to get the straight answer if a rejection would come your way. Just take it on the chin and accept it. It's still easier than like spending more time and hoping that something is going to happen, or hoping that okay, that person is going to be find out by themselves, or maybe that person is waiting for you to talk and to express yourself. So I think it's better to just bring it up, talk about it, and bear the consequence. At the end of the day, getting the rejection, maybe it will help you move on faster than just spending days and months or whatever the period is in order to be able to find out by coincidence. You know what I mean? I think I should be okay with the rejection. I should be okay because like we need clarity at the end of the day, right? So I need a clear answer, easy, whatever that answer is, just bring it up, bring it on. So yeah, I think that's maybe I should try this one time, but I don't know. I don't have try to well, it should be an experiment, right?
Try to reject
no,
someone
it
or
doesn't really,
try to be
no,
real?
try to get rejected. Try to get rejected.
You want to be rejected.
Well, just for the sake of science, just for the sake of the experiment itself, but like
Okay.
I'm not really bragging here. I'm saying like, oh yeah, I wasn't really being rejected, but like, I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest. But maybe we can try it to get an update on how do I feel. Just an
Yeah.
up-to-date feeling, right? Yeah. What do you think, Ness?
I think rejection is beautiful. It makes you, yeah, it makes you
Okay.
grow.
Yeah.
You move past that point. So what if that person doesn't want you? You move on. If it's not reciprocated, you move on. It's not like you're stuck. I mean, in a normal case, there is obviously other cases where people stuck on this person forever, but usually you just move on. So what? Like, we're adults and we're mature enough to handle it. It's normal. It's not everybody has to like us. So what? Like, and I don't actually, yeah, I don't know. And I'm weird, so I'm not the norm, because for me, I don't easily develop interest in people. That's why I don't like understand, like, certain people, they have every day or every week they have a new interest, or they find it easy to become interested. For me, it takes time. And so, I mean, you know if the person is reciprocating or not. And if you don't know, then you just go ahead and just say it. But I don't think that women should necessarily put themselves out there. But I'm going to be quiet because Maria's going to call me misogynistic.
Look, at the end of the day, you know, the way that we would look at it is, at least, you know, let's just combine, or let's just add to this conversation a little bit of the belief, you know, my belief. Okay. It's, you know, if it's something that is meant for you,
yeah,
it would happen, right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't, then you need to accept it, because, you know, there's a better, let's say, better reason behind it, or something behind, you know, that you can't really get it, right? So maybe we can add this to the answer.
Yeah.
And yeah, that might really make us feel a bit better if we think about it. Like, yeah, if, you know, for example, you know, you got rejected, and then, you know, you felt bad about it, but, like, you know, for how long?
Yeah.
Are you going to feel bad about it, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, so in order to shorten this period, or shorten this time, you know, we think about it in a different way, from the belief perspective, which is, you know, if it wasn't meant for you, then it's not really yours, right?
Yeah. But let's reverse it. How many people did you guys reject?
Let me start bragging, right?
Oh my God.
There's a list. There is a list.
There is a list? Okay.
I don't know. I don't really have an answer for this.
But how do you reject people? Do you then stop talking to them? Do you ghost them?
Well, no, I think I'm the Mr. Nice Guy here, as you all know, right? I would always do it in a diplomatic way, right? In a nice and tender way, and you know, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but, like, you know, I wouldn't really be, no, it's look, ghosting and you know, going silent or just ignoring, no. I wouldn't appreciate it. I wouldn't want it to happen for myself. So of course I wouldn't really have wanted to happen to others, right? So the answer would be, you know, in a nice way, in a way that, you know, at least, you know, the standard, let's say it the standard way, which is like the standard words of, like, hey, you're a great person, and I really appreciate, you know, you know, knowing you, or something. I'm just again, I'm just I don't know, I'm just guessing here. Again, maybe we can experience that, you know. Maybe we can try it, like, just for the sake of act. Look, yeah, I think not acting basically, but I don't know how we can put it to the test, but not acting, because you know, both of you, like, you know, I wouldn't really reject you. So nice. we need some outsider.
Maria?
So we're putting it out there.
Oh my God, these pills are kicking in, huh? Maria? Ray, can you tell Maria to stop this?
Stop what?
This whole, like, silent treatment.
There she is.
I don't.
Give me the silent
I think,
treatment.
Look, in fact, I was just waiting for her. Like, I'm talking now, and I'm looking at her, and I'm just waiting for the eye roll. But you know, luckily for me, I haven't really get an eye roll yet. So go ahead, Maria. I think you have something to say here. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it would reverse it. No, I haven't rejected anybody. Like, I don't get into that position.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Oh, guys. Okay.
But that was a great question. We elaborate pretty good. I hope that Stacy is very happy.
Okay. We're moving on to our update. What's the update? I've got the update. Wow, so many of you.
Maria.
Ness, introduce the topic.
Wow. Okay, so we have an
Come on.
update. Okay,
Mhm.
exactly. Come on. Don't do it for me, do it for the people. So Mahmoud Khalil, we all know what happened. He was locked up because he participated in a documentary and he was accused of obviously being a terrorist supporting Hamas, which is the freedom fighter group in Gaza, for those who are still sleeping.
Big news to tell you about. A federal judge this hour has ruled that the Trump administration must release the former Columbia graduate student and permanent legal resident, Mahmoud Khalil, had ruled that he cannot be deported based on Secretary of State Marco Rubio's determination.
Yeah. So he was also accused for participating in the encampments, which he didn't. He was just a negotiator between the students and the leadership of the university. And there is an update because he was arrested, he was detained, and he was supposed to be deported. And the federal judge stopped Trump from deporting him. His lawyers worked really hard. So he, at the moment at least, I don't know how things are changing because everything is really unpredictable. Right now, it doesn't look like he will be deported, which is very good because he has, I don't even know, did his wife get the baby already? Or is she still pregnant? Does anyone know?
She got the baby. She got the baby.
She got the baby? Oh.
Yeah.
Imagine, he wasn't even there for his first child.
Yeah.
Cold.
You know, the crazy part, just as a comment to what you said, Nez, you know, like the update. There's an update to this update. Apparently on Friday, the same judge changed their mind, or let's say they found themselves a loophole, in a way that so basically, you know, the part of news that we were talking about here is that, you know, like the judge even ruled that, you know, that Mahmoud Khalil cannot really be detained anymore, like, you know, should be released, right? Let alone the deportation itself, right? But now it seems like they had a change of mind on Friday, right? And the change of mind is that it says that, you know, Khalil can remain in the Immigration and Customs Enforcement's custody as long as the detention is not based on determination by the secretary, which is Rubio in this case, that the activist is a national security threat. So basically, now they handed it to the you know, the immigration the immigration enforcement people, okay, and they put it into a national security now.
Wow.
So it says that, yeah, it says that, you know, he can be detained for other reasons, which are based on something. What is it? It's a provision in the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952 that allows the Secretary of State to deport non-citizens if the Secretary determines their presence in the country would result in potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the United States. So they are using that now. It's like a loophole in order to take advantage of this, in order to keep him detained. Yeah, it seems like this was a latest update that happened on Friday, because like on Wednesday, we've got, you know, the first update of like, you know, he should be, you know, he cannot really be detained or he should be released. But on Friday, this thing happened, like Friday 9:30 a.m. apparently.
Wow. Okay, Maria,
right,
would you
so
like to
yeah,
add something? Or are you
No, I mean, it's something, obviously it's an abuse of power. It's an infringement to his right, and the story is not over, right? I just pray to be patient, and I hope that he get a better lawyer than he had before, and when this over, he can sue this for abuse of power. but the story is not over. This case is gonna be precedent for the future, and many other students that are being abused by this administration. So it's
You
just.
know, no, when I heard this news that was on Wednesday before the update on Friday, the first thing came to my mind was like, well, let's see. Now it's a good time to see if the democracy is as good as they say it is, and judicial system, okay, that is supposed to be in place, is it real or not? Because basically, as far as we know, that the judicial system should be above all, right?
Yeah.
But again, it seems like under the national security thing, they can override the judicial system, and they can basically. It reminds me, by the way, with the with the Syrian regime, how it used to be, right? Of course, the judicial system was anyway there. The previous Syrian regime I'm talking about, the judicial system was basically corrupt anyway. Okay, but they had this thing which is the martial law, especially because they are a neighboring country to Israel, so that anyone can be arrested, anyone can disappear, okay, and be detained and disappear completely, okay, under the national security allegations, right? So it seems like it's been happening in the US. We were complaining about Syria, now it's going to happening in the democratic countries, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, let's stay tuned and see what happens. Okay, what we got next? Okay, we got the school shooting in Austria. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because it actually rarely happens anywhere but in the US, because the gun laws are pretty much tight in most places. And in Austria, there was a school shooting in the second biggest city. 9 students and 1 teacher are dead and 30 more are injured. The 21-year-old former student who did this apparently killed himself after in the bathroom.
Ages. Local media report that at least 30 people have been injured, some very seriously, and at least 10 have passed away, with 7 of those fatalities being children. A disaster alert has been issued for hospitals in the local area, and the suspect is believed to have shot himself in the school toilet.
And yeah, Maria wanted to touch on all the school shootings in America that happen weekly.
When I read the news, sadly, I wasn't. My reaction was like, "Oh, okay," because in America it's basically a common event. This year actually is pretty good compared to on others. Like we only had 20 this year so far, and I'm a mass shooting in general, but in last couple of years they're attacking schools. And for some reason, talk about gun regulation in this country is prohibited, because the IRM has lobby our government. So I hope the Austria is different. I hope after this they take like what happened in Australia, right? Right. I think they only have 1 gun shooter,
Yeah.
and then they regulate guns and never happen again.
Yeah, they're very strict here. They're very strict in terms of ownership of guns anyway, because and it's like, first of all, guns are not really sold in the supermarket, right? To start with. And if someone wants to own a gun, they have to go through something. It's like you need to have like a degree, a qualification, in order to get a gun. So you have to go through like theoretical classes where you can basically, or you have to attend those classes and understand, the gun safety and the firearm safety, and then of course add to that the security checks on the person and their history and everything else. So it's a long process until, and it will be like, it's just like, when you're, I don't know if this also applies in the US and in Europe, when you're having driver's license at the age of 17, for example, here, they will have like a provisional driver's license, which is like, they cannot really exceed some certain speed and stuff like that. So again, the license for the ownership of a gun here, again, we're talking about, if someone wants to buy a gun like legally, we're not talking about something that is smuggled or bought from black market or something, right? But it's very highly regulated here, which is, I'm honestly, I'm impressed with it here, right? But I want to touch on the Austrian thing that happened, right? So because yes, we hear about in the US, we hear about those news in the US, but I think in the US, correct me if I'm wrong, Maria, in the US, we're talking about current students who are currently attending the school. They are doing those shootings, right? So students who are currently at the school, right? I mean, that's at least what we hear.
A good percentage are kids that are going to the school now.
Yeah,
a good percentage.
Yeah, because because the one in Austria, it's like someone who's like 21 years old and someone who's not attending the school anymore. He used to be a student in that school, right? But considering the age and considering other things, it's like he's not there now. He's not attending. He's not a current student. So I don't know. I think there are still investigations happening, but again, me and my let's say looking at from a different angle, right? So now we are talking about a gunman. Okay, now forget about the U.S. shootings, and let's we're talking about Europe and maybe the news, if we can put it against some of the news that we hear about some shootings or some quote unquote terrorist attacks. I would say it's a gunman, and it's already been called a gunman, and he already ended his life, right? Do we have a picture of that person? Is it a dark-skinned person? Is that a Muslim or something? Because otherwise it would be
that. Good question.
Yeah. So to me, it would be like, oh, it's a gunman or a terrorist. Of course, and he ended his life as well. So mental health issues we're talking about here, right? But who knows? Maybe the investigations can bring some more updates and see at least understand at least the skin color of this person,
But
and we can take it from there.
Wouldn't you think they would have released it if it was indeed like a black or brown person?
Yeah, I mean, because look, when we touched on Mahmoud Khalil's case, Mahmoud Khalil is a student. We're not talking about, of course, I know we're not talking about the a high school student, and that guy, since being a 21 years old, in Austria, he's not a high school student anymore.
Yeah.
Right. He did the thing in the high school, but Mahmoud Khalil is like a national security threat, and so on and so on. Right, and he just protested. He didn't really have a gun. He didn't really do anything. He just protested, and he just voiced his opinion and so many other people's opinions, right, who agree with that, which is crystal clear. Well, we're talking about a gunman now, just a gunman. Even if that gunman didn't really end his life, I would expect that he would be just seen as someone with mental health issues. But ending his life by himself, okay. The story is ready now. A troubled person, a traumatized, whatever it is, and he ended his life. And move on, guys. 3 days mourning, and we'll feel sad a little bit, and move on.
It's going to be interesting. And unfortunately, our next point is also, not a very nice point. We have a former military man who is a father of 3, who is homeless and came to pick up his children, his 3 daughters. And unfortunately, these daughters never returned. And when they were found, they were dead, zip-tied, bags over their heads and everything. He's still on the run. He is considered very dangerous. They even tell people not to approach him, to call authorities immediately when they see him. Clearly this person has some psychological problems, because the mother, she has actually court papers where she requested a oh my gosh, I can't say the word. I can't say the word. Psychiatric. You guys are not great help today, seriously.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I think
Psychiatric.
All right, no.
Okay, let's say psychological. How about that?
Yes. Okay, yeah. Let's stop embarrassing ourselves here, right?
Exactly. Oh my God. I just want to point out, we all are not like, English is not our first language, okay? For some of us, it's
Yes.
our second, third, or even fourth.
I think it's psychiatric. In my head it works, but like, you know, as soon as
Exactly.
it reaches out, something, you know.
Maria, you want to give it a try?
Psychiatric
evaluation.
Psychiatric.
So why didn't you say
evaluation.
it if you can say it?
I don't want to make you look up bad.
Oh,
She's
trust me.
enjoying watching us. She's
Right?
enjoying it.
She's really probably
Yeah.
like inside these dummies. They can't even say the word. Say
Yeah.
that word again.
Psychiatric.
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 Okay, psychiatric. Okay, thank you for the English lesson. So, psychiatric evaluation said that she requested one because he suffers from PTSD and other stuff. So, yeah, this is a very tragic situation.
Yeah. How many problems do we see here?
Many, too many. We have somebody
Yeah.
who was in the military, and most of the people in the from the military, they come back with severe mental health issues, and they're not all treated. And I know this because we have many army bases here in Germany, American army bases, and we used to have more. And there is just so many people who just come back from war zones, and these people are nothing like they were before they left.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we have let's see the recipe. We've got an ex-military. We've got someone with mental health issues, most probably, like you said, traumatized or PTSD because they are serving at some third world country to teach its people some democracy here. And most probably the people of that country maybe resisted, you know, in a clear message to say, hey, you know, just mind your own business, guys. You don't need the democracy. Anyway, what am I talking about here? And all of a sudden, homeless, obviously after being through the service, when he was thinking that he would be a national hero and will be treated as one after coming back from his service. Yeah. But obviously he wasn't. He ended up on the streets, right? Now, the other disastrous thing for me would be like, you know, why, you know, like the news says that, you know, the daughters were allowed to have planned visitation with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that the daughters would be, you know, like, you know, they have the right to see their father and vice versa, of course. But
actually,
like,
the daughters didn't want to. The daughter didn't want to go with him, and the court didn't listen.
Yeah, true.
Well, exactly. You know, like, I'm not surprised. You know, we shouldn't really be surprised with that, right? But if we put it like, let's say it, oh, you know, they have the right to see their father, and the father has the right to see his daughters, right? But like, when we think about it, like, you know, the guy is homeless, and of course, possibly mental conditions, which again, I'm just guessing here, but of course, as Ness said, you know, as part of the news, you know, this psychiatric test that needs to be happening. right? Yeah, I said it right, Ness. You know, but like, how is it okay to let him with the girls without supervision, right? Like, I think in other cases where, we have the partners who, one of the partners or like both of the partners, they don't have mental health issues, they are still supposed to see the kids under some supervision, in some controlled environment. Was that allowed, that this person can come and visit see his kids, take them out, because where was the mother, or where was anyone there at home when he took him out? Because it says like the mother reported that the girls are missing, right, for 3 days or something, right?
Because he didn't return them. He was
Yeah,
supposed to
exactly,
return
like he
them.
did. Perfect. So the mother allowed, so the mother was there, and he came to visit, and he said, I'm gonna take the kids for, I don't know, an ice cream or whatever, right? Like, I mean, there's something missing here, right? If the mother said that she requested a mental health assessment for that person, right? But at the same time, she accepted that this person can take the kids out, right? So there's something wrong here. Something wrong with the court who allowed for this. Something wrong even with the mom. I don't know. Did she feel threatened that if she didn't really accept to give to allow the girls to go out with their dad, is he going to be a threat to her life or something? I don't know. Do you know what I'm? Do you know see
Yeah.
what I'm heading
Yeah.
for? Like,
But to be
what's happening?
honest, I don't know, right? And I don't
Yeah, of
blame
course.
the mother under no circumstances. And I don't know how I would be in this situation, but from how I am, like just my personality, there is nothing in the world that could have made me give my daughters to this man who supposedly has some very heavy mental health issues, which I know, and the court is not listening. I just no. Mm-mm.
Exactly. No, absolutely.
Maria?
What happened in the United States, like we got regulation, family court regulations are also mishandled. Actually, this I'm gonna put videos when you see kids being torn from the parents. The kid is crying, please, I don't want to go, and you have the police, three police police officers grabbing this small child because the visit has to be completed. To me, it's the most traumatizing or horrific thing I haven't watched. This country is failing in so many areas, and family court is one of those. If the child is begging you, I don't want to go, why do we need the police force in there? I'm gonna add those videos later so you can see them. It's very scary. That should be illegal. Like family court need to have the limitation. You cannot grab a child or force a mother to give out the child because the judge demanded. If the child is telling you no, I don't want to go because they don't feel safe, that should be it. He doesn't want to go. These children didn't want to go. In so many cases, the children say, I don't want to go, and they force and tragedy happen. So in this country, sadly, until something awful happen, they don't react when it's too late. So it's a problem in family court. Like say like a no mother wants to do that, or father, not only mothers, like there are also mother, like also father, they had deal with the opposite partner, and we see this collapse and this traumatizing experience. So the problem, we have a awful family court system in here, and this sometimes even these kids end up in foster cares away from both parents because the situation is not handled accordingly. They don't listen to the children. So it's a big problem that we have here. And of course, the system is underfunded, so they don't have money to actually to invest in all the cases that they have.
Yeah, but what strikes me here is this, right? Usually, in many cases, the fathers don't actually get like certain rights when it comes to this kind of stuff. And this guy, they know he's a former military person. So that alone, I'm not saying, I'm sorry, but I feel like maybe, and anyone correct me if I'm wrong, because I really don't know, but 90% of the people from the military who went to war zone countries or places and had to participate will not be okay after.
Mhm.
So that alone
Yeah.
should warrant this woman's, the mother's request. Like, why is it that something has to happen and then everybody goes, oh, this is a tragedy. Oh, this is really bad. Oh, we should have acted. And this is the whole thing. It's the same in so many different cases. Something they will always tell you, but nothing happened yet.
Yeah, that is true. And you know, when you look at the rest of the news, when it says that the person is on the run now,
Yeah.
and he could be hiding somewhere, and he's off grid because even his phone was found on that playground or whatever the place that he took his children. So he's off grid, and based on the training that he had, military training, he could stay off the grid for a couple of months, right?
Yeah, true.
So yeah, so just to add to this, like they have them, the mental health issues are one thing, and the other thing is like, it's just like a complete, like it's a full package of danger we're dealing with here, right? And yet the girls were allowed to go with him by the court.
Yep.
Yep. So again, a lot needs to be done, right?
100%. 100%. And our next topic is not better. This is actually something sick that has been going on for years, and still I'm surprised that not many people know about it. They've been pushing this for quite some time now. The term MAP exists for quite some time now. For those who don't know, minor attractive person or people. And this is something that they have been pushing to make it a law. And it's kind of like almost lawful in certain countries, where they pushed it so far that with the consent of the parents in some countries, it's okay for an adult to be attracted to a minor. And when I say minor, I'm talking like 9 years old and so on. So I don't know, Maria, you want to elaborate on this camp?
Well, this is another problem that we have, right? Like they are so strict with some laws and regulation. Meanwhile, when we see something that is obviously wrong, somehow it's overlooked, permitted, or approved. Like and that's another hypocrisy of the Western values of that approach, because they criticize the other country had child marriage, and they come and do this and allow this in here. Like, so what is it? No, so our values, our morals are all distorted right now. This thing should be a bipartisan war against these people. Like the term alone is disgusting. They are minors, they are children, they're babies, and they like that should be no questions. They're like it should not even be allowed in the Senate. Like if someone comes to our government building with a bill like that, should be immediately shut down and the person should be arrested. Some things are black and white, and but somehow they put glasses because I'm sure that these people put money to make them overlook these cases.
It's actually more so that certain, let's say, people in power get away with some of their, doings. So basically, if you push this as a law, you cannot charge a politician or any public figure with this?
Yeah, look, the problem is again, like you guys said, right? But the problem that I see here is like, okay, now they kind of beautified or added some, cosmetics to the term. Instead of like a pedophile, now it's a map, right? And that's the scary part. It's like as soon as you see this, now it seems like it started to be used in some scholarly articles, for the sake of research and stuff like that. It's like it started by the some pedophile supporting groups, but it's now being used as a research, like in researches, right? So far, and in scholarly articles, in academic context, right? But this is the scary part, that later on, what is going to happen and how is it going to be used? And now it feels like, they just made it sound a bit nicer now, right? I don't understand, why does it have to sound nicer? There's nothing nice about it, right? About the whole thing, but now they made it sound nicer. It's a map now, not a pedophile. Can you like map? Like, wow, right? This is the scary part for me, is that what is next? Okay, now we've got the nice name for it, or nice title. What is next? Like you said, Ness, like some people to get away with it, right?
Do you guys have this conversation with your children?
Of course. Of course we do. There's always this indirect questions. We have the conversation, of course, based on the age, since I've got two different age groups here, right?
Yeah.
So the conversation would take a context based on the age, and the questions would be undercover a little bit, in terms of and then of course where for the older age son, we go in a bit more details. I go in a bit more details in terms of, this thing exists, and we have to keep an eye out all the time, right? Try to do it in a as a clear and nice as possible, right? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but wait a second. Okay. It's a serious thing, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, when I read about it, and I just recalled something that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, right? Or was it? Yeah, not last week, the week before, about the French first family, right? And the history behind that, especially that, the comment that you said, madness, at the end of the day, they are two grown men, right? Back in the day at school time, Maria, it's time for your internet to crash now, because I don't want to.
I don't understand.
Back in the day at school time.
Your internet should not drop.
Was it a potential map case back in the day? Or
Oh my God.
I don't know. It just came to my mind, like, okay. Especially, when we mentioned, when we brought up that, the two grown men.
Two grown men now. They weren't always two grown men.
Yeah, exactly. Now there are two grown men, but before there was one grown man and the other was a minor. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
The other one wasn't that grown anyway, back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so okay. Our next one is actually a rather embarrassing one, but we have to call it out because we don't want to be biased. because I mean, there's two people here who are Muslim, so we have to call out our own people sometimes. It is what it is. There is this couple in the UK, and in 2023, they made a lot of money with prisoners by dropping off mobile phones and drugs via drones to the prisons, to 11 prisons in the UK. I must say, genius business idea, but what can I say? They were caught. So the husband, he was dealing with the drones and everything, and the wife was doing all the logistics. So these people really thought they were Bonnie and Clyde or something, I don't know. But they were charged now. So he got 6 years and 1 month, and she got 15 months. And I think they made about 50K. I wonder if this is worth it.
You said 6 years and 1 month?
No, 6 years and 1 month, not 60.
Yeah, 6 years
Yeah.
and 1 month.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, how did they come up with that 1 month? Like, why is that extra month?
Because he said something or so, maybe, or it was one mobile phone too many. I don't know.
Yeah, well, here's the question, like the news headline itself. Did it really say they are Muslim couples? Or, like the news said it's a couple, and we found out that they are Muslims.
Yeah, regretfully.
Well, like, I mean, again, as the news itself, the news headline, did it say that
No.
they are a Muslim couple?
No.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Because the first thing that came to my mind is like, oh, okay, there you go, the news. Then everyone is talking about, oh, look at these crazy, crappy Muslim people. Since the beginning. So, but at least, okay, you're saying that the headline didn't really.
The ones that I saw,
that,
at least,
which is
didn't. I
okay
don't know
now.
if there was any.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, well, look, it's this is bad. It's disgusting, and the fact that they are Muslims, especially now, we know that Islam prohibits us to consume and deal with any drugs or alcohol or any substances as such, right? So it is disgusting, and I'm sure that Maria agrees with us. You said you have two Muslims here, but we've got our haram police here, which is Maria.
Yeah.
our outsourced Hispanic
Spanish
haram
person.
police. So Maria,
I would
give
never
your
say
input.
a Muslim couple. I would say criminals, because I mean, what would I do with the West Dads? I'm not gonna criticize and go and do the same. For me, they are not a Muslim couple. For me, they are criminals. It had nothing to do with
Exactly.
the Muslim community.
Exactly. Again, because like in the religion, in the Islam itself, this is completely prohibited. So I don't understand where they come from. I understand, like you said, the creativity that they had, and it seems like from a business case perspective, they have done a lot of research in terms of the target market, the market segmentation, and all of those concepts of marketing. They realized that what, yeah, okay, no one thought about this, and of course there's a lot of money in prisons, especially knowing that the qualifications and the backgrounds of the prisoners. So it seems like those guys have done a very good research. But again, I'm not really encouraging that. I'm just a disclaimer here, right? But too bad and shame. It's a shame that that creativity went into the wrong direction. Okay, and again, we don't claim them as Muslims or even as humans, even, right? We shouldn't.
I'm going to just say this because it really annoys me. There's something that's been really, really annoying me. Every time, right? I mean, we're just all people, no matter what religion you are, no matter what. Every time a Muslim does something wrong or does something that's not okay, we get chastised even more. I understand that we have high morals in our religion, and Islam is a way of life and not just like believe this and believe that in the end. It's really it's a very disciplined religion and everything, but nobody said that we were perfect. Nobody said we're angels, and we definitely have a lot of bad people amongst us. So every time something happens, because the reason why we're even talking about this, I'm going to be honest, I didn't seek this out. This was actually brought to me by someone and say, hey, why don't you talk about some of the stuff that your own people are doing? Okay, no problem. We can do
Oh,
that. We can call people out because we're not biased. And this is what I'm saying. Like, people look at Muslims as like, we said we are perfect and we never do nothing wrong, which is not the truth.
yeah, yeah. Look, it's a saying that had been going around. You know, like when you see something wrong that is done by someone who follows or falls under the Muslim category or the category of Muslim. So blame the person, blame the Muslim. Don't blame Islam itself.
Exactly.
You know, because yeah, I think we couldn't really have couldn't have said it better than that. You know, like don't blame the belief, blame the people who are how they practiced it and how they understood it. If any, like some of them, you know, you would be, you know, yeah, hey, I'm Muslim, but like I know nothing about it, right? So yeah, I think that's how it should be put together.
100%. Okay, Maria, I want you to take over this next one. Talk about ICE. Talk about what they're doing to your people.
Well, I mean, it's all over the news here in the U.S. Their abuse of power goes beyond, like we look like we live in Nazi Germany when we have people picking out from the street. Not only grown-ups, like ICE has go to working sites, taking illegal document, but also schools. We have a 17-year-old deported without his family. We have a cancer patient, a child cancer patient removed from Children's Hospital. And last week, and all week, in all cities in the United States, people had taken over the streets to fight against ISIS. LA was one of the mayors and more powerful ones. And one of the neighborhood, they actually were so hard that they made ICE retrieve. In Philadelphia and New York and other states, the people are taking over, like millions of people on the street with protesters, and not only for Israel, they also for Palestine. You can see several flags. And when I mean, I wanted to highlight that, right? Because it's obviously an abuse of power and a freeze to our rights as a humans. But you know, when you say when a crisis strike, you always have to look for the heroes. And in this case, we have so many in different communities: Black community, Arab community, the European community took over the street to talk about this, because it's now they're coming for us, but next is gonna be you. And what makes it great is like all this week we have people on the street fighting against ICE. And yesterday, Donald Trump has his parade, and it was so empty because the people were protesting on the other side. They had a march saying like a no king because he wants to become king. So everybody came to the street to protest against his policies.
So did you see the general, one of the generals from the military did say that he is not going to bow down to Trump and listen to what he says, and he is not going to allow him to use his troops to commit racism or be racist towards immigrants.
Yeah. In LA, he let the the National Guard took over the street, but when it comes to New York and Philadelphia, they just say no, you cannot they cannot take over the street. So that's a win for us.
Yep, it is. Definitely is. Ray, do you have anything?
Yeah, No, that's how it should be. You know, again, when we talk about when we see the news about the National Guard going to the streets to control the situation, that reminds me all the time with what happened in 2011 in the Arabic countries. You know, when they revolted against dictatorship, and the army was deployed to suppress and to stop those by any means, right? Just to stop the movement, right? It seems like Trump and his administration, it seems like they are looking at the reading from the same textbook, right? And that's sad, really sad, because people in other countries where you have dictatorship, people would always, because of there would be under the deception that the US and Western countries look at the democracy, they look at the freedom of speech, look at the human rights and all of this, right? And all of a sudden you see this happening now in the place that we or other people looked up to and tried to use or to see that, yeah, okay, we need to be like that place. Now, okay, that place is apparently using the same practices that dictatorships are using, right? But also that is showing, especially the protests that are happening now and all that the action that has been taken, right? It shows that there's no other way, to end the oppression, because it is a form of oppression as well, right? What is happening in terms of deportation, everything, right? There's no other way to end the oppression except by people, which is the majority of the population. We're talking about the majority, not the ruling class. Okay, when they say no and they make the move, there's no other way, right?
Absolutely. That's why you said last week that change can only come if something like this happens. And this is like 2.0. This is exactly everything that happened like 100 years ago, just a little bit updated, however.
Yeah, exactly.
But the next thing I'm very excited about to talk about it, because it's kind of like it's kind of like connected as well. And
Yeah.
this is the March. So who wants to bring it in?
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Yeah, well, the global march to Palestine, which is something that we had been looking forward and waiting for to happen, especially when we see the oppression and when we see that within the countries around Palestine, the people within those countries, they are suppressed and they are oppressed in a way that they couldn't really do it themselves. Okay. So the free people of the world decided to take that step. Okay. And they started from Tunisia, Libya, going across to Libya and moving towards Egypt. And I think everyone is looking at that movement. And that can show us what is the collective effort does, right? Just like we spoke last week. Now, the action should come from all directions. When we touched on the Freedom Flotilla, for example, we said there should be multiple flotillas coming, not one, right? When we talk about the movement of the people themselves, it should come from the multiple directions. Perfect. It's coming from Egypt through, or at least from the Egyptian side, right? But we would love to see it happening also from the other side as well, or other
I
direction.
think there is one from the other side. Is this not where they left from Belgium on buses to go to Turkey and then get to Palestine from the other side? No?
I don't think it was. I think I heard something like this, but I don't think it had the same amount of people and the same traction and momentum that we could see that is coming from the Egyptian side. Okay, and I think the main reason is because Egypt has the direct border with Gaza, and it's because of the geographical location. That's my the way how I see it, right? Because if that march is coming from Jordan side, or Lebanon, again, we're talking about, like it's a different border, and it's under a different control, because, the border of Gaza with the Egyptian side, right? Yes, of course, all the borders are controlled by the occupation, but the Egyptian side of the border is supposedly controlled by Egypt,
Yeah.
right? So maybe that's why I'm just thinking that's why the bigger march is coming from the side of Egypt, because it's vicinity with Gaza, right?
I mean, unfortunately, the people did register the march. They had their okays from the authorities, but as soon as they got there, a lot of people were deported. There was a lot of violence from the Egyptian side. There were people literally paid to be violent towards the civilians. People were dragged into buses and taken away. Yeah. I don't know. There's a bunch of videos where we can clearly see the violence that took place. And Maria, you have a friend that was deported immediately, right?
Yes, when she got to the airport, they told her to either she buy the ticket on the way back, or they're gonna hold her for suspicious of espionage. So I mean, they scare her, no? And she had to buy her ticket back. And yeah, and we can see the abuse to many activists. We see activists pleading to the soldiers, to the military, to please let them in, that they only want to bring food. Like they try to go to the human side, try to beg the police, please, you don't have to follow orders. This is for human. You're a human. There is a guy that tried to plead. And many tried to plead with the soldiers, but they said they will only follow order. One person that we can see in the march is Nelson Mandela's grandson, participant in the march. He also talked about his participation, how everybody, he started calling out everybody, not only the Middle East, but Europe, all the continent, that we need to stay together and do this again and force the authorities to open the border so we can feed the people in Gaza. I mean, they're not even asking for liberation. They just want to bring food to people. So he participated, he speak up, and he was there during the march.
What an amazing honor to do this to his granddad. Like this is legacy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what a shame what happened, because like Maria said, like these people are not really coming to cause any trouble. Let's just quote unquote
Yeah.
cause any trouble, right? All they want is to deliver food and basic necessities to people who have been locked in Gaza. Okay, but again, like you can tell from the practices, in the official practices, which is making it just like Maria's friend. Someone would be just told, like, you will not be granted entry to the country, book your flight back and leave, or get into detention, right? But the other one is what you mentioned, Nez, is like the activists who are there, they are being attacked by supposedly civilians, right? So what is the authority? What are the authorities thinking when they do that? They allow, again, quote unquote, civilian people to come and attack activists, people who basically came from a different part of the world. Now, what sort of incentive and motivation that was given to those civilians? Now, we understand that those civilians who attack, right, they are thugs, they are mercenaries, right? All they care about is money. But what is on the authorities' mind when they allow such things to happen? If they want to say that, look, hey, it's not the authorities that are attacking the people. It's not the authorities that are really being violent here, right? It's just some civilians, all right? And let me just remind you with something. There's 2011 in Egypt, the revolution against Mubarak, the picket that happened in Al Tahrir Square, right? at day 2 or 3, I don't remember exactly. Do you remember the same thing happened? The attack that happened by thugs and mercenaries that are riding horses and camels. They attacked the people who are protesting in the square. There was no violence until those thugs showed up.
Yeah.
Remember that,
100%.
right? Yeah, and they called it even the Ma'arakat al-Jamal, or the camel battle or something, because people stood up for themselves. The Egyptian people at that time stood up for themselves, and they managed to kick out those thugs. But what I wanted to highlight here is the official story at that time was that no, these are not thugs. They are not mercenaries. They are people who work for the Ministry of Tourism as tour guides. Like they are, the people who would offer a camel ride or a horse ride for the tourists, and they were upset with the protesters because their business had been affected, and that's why they attacked. Which is far from that, right? It was a lame story back then in 2011.
Yes.
Now, when I saw the video and the footage here, I was like, oh my God, it's again the same textbook, the same scenario, right? It seems like they keep using the same tricks. No creativity here.
100%. And this time I don't know, like, look, most of the Egyptians are pro-Palestinian, most of them. Absolutely. Unfortunately, I have to say, I spoke to some who said they don't care. It's rather annoying to them than anything. That exists too, but it exists everywhere. But I just still want to say I'm so proud of everybody, like all the Tunisians, Algerians, Mauritanians, Libyans, Moroccans, so many, and so steadfast. And really, like, there's videos where you can see that those people are literally saying, you can either kill us or do whatever you want, but we're walking, we're marching. These people came with a mindset that's literally unbeatable.
That's how it should be. That's how it should be. And it's so sad to know that, like you said, some people from the countries, the surrounding countries, they don't really care as long as, it doesn't really affect them. They don't care.
They don't care. I mean, I know somebody in Egypt, and she told me blatantly, like, it was like a month ago or 2 months ago, we had a catch-up call. And I know she might be watching, actually, because she does watch. And I don't really care because I'm not saying any names, but this person literally told me she doesn't care. She said, it's sad, but I don't care. What do you want me to do? It's not my business. It doesn't affect me. And that was for me.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's okay. That's all I wanted to say.
It's just, remember the 3 bulls story that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. The white bull is getting eaten. Wake up. The other 2 bulls, please wake up.
Well, like people who have, let's say, less worries in the world, or, like, look, everybody can do whatever they want. But what I can say now, it might sound childish to some people or whatever. There's a video, right? There's this guy and he says, if you're not pro-Palestine, we're not friends. And that's exactly the same thing for me. Because it's not necessarily only about Palestine. It's just about humanity.
Yeah, that's a clear demonstration of, or a clear test, actually. It's a test to the level of humanity that each of one of us has. Okay, we're not talking about any beliefs or religions or politics. We're talking about humanity. Simple humanity, right? Yeah. You accept that to happen to you. If you don't accept it to happen to you, how would you accept it to happen to others? Simple as that.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have to talk about it. This is something that happened a few days ago. I think Thursday night. No, I don't know, or whatever time zone you're in. The Israeli attack on Iran. What do you guys think?
Maria,
everybody at once.
you wanna? No, because I know that Maria mentioned it at the beginning of the
Yes,
episode,
she told, yeah.
especially, that I know that she was going sleepless and following the news, and
Yes.
so I'm gonna give her the opportunity
Yes.
to talk about it.
Well, the only thing that makes me happy is the occupation is having a little bit of taste of their own medicine, right? Is this gonna be good for Palestine? I don't know. No, because during days before this, they were under a blackout. We couldn't hear from our friends. So I celebrate the little karma that Israel got to live through. No, the sleepless nights, falling missiles after missiles, after they attack to an unprovoked nation. So they attack everybody. So they think that no one is gonna reply. Now some of them attack back, and it was a shower of missiles on June 13, destroying mostly Tel Aviv and other cities, Beersheba. We have the most of the center of the occupation. So, and then of course when they attack back, and that's the thing that is crazy to me. We can see the missiles coming from inside the city. So these people have missile launchers inside the city, in the middle of buildings with civilians. Talking about human shields, they had their buildings prepared to attack in middle residential areas. And they were for the longest accusing Hamas. Or Hamas is hiding in the middle of the Palestinians, and that's why we had to attack them. We also we have videos of a military base in Israel under a hospital. Another accusation they become what they're actually doing. So a lot of things came out to the light after this bombardment. No, the hypocrisy of this nation. After the attack, they had the audacity to ask for help to the UK, the United States.
Okay, am I gonna make you more happy if I tell you the 2 nights that Iran struck back cost them $280 million in damage? Just these 2 nights. That's how much they destroyed in Israel. So 70 buildings are completely destroyed, damaged. Are damaged, and 20 are completely gone. And they also destroyed the Weizmann Institute, which is one of their science AI places where they create all the AI that they're using for the genocide in Gaza, for example.
That is in the middle of Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I think you guys know my stance when it comes to Iran.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to really bring it up, but if someone is going to ask or wonder what's my stance, I'd say look what Iran did to the Syrians, back in 2011 onwards, right? So my stance would never change, okay? But like Maria said, it's it is nice. It is really nice to see that Israel is getting a taste of their own medicine, right? And it is also nice to see. For me, I would always say that at least the good thing here is that Iran, they said we are going to respond back and you're going to regret it, right? And they did respond back. Why I'm mentioning this? Because back in the day when the previous Syrian regime was there, right? How many airstrikes, inside Syria, inside Damascus, had been conducted by Israel, and no one really threw a stone towards those towards Israel. And they kept saying that we would just reserve the right to respond on the right time and way, right? But at least Iran did something, okay, which is, again, it's good to see that Israel is tasting their own medicine, right? But also it shows us some facts about Israel. Now, as you mentioned, the amount of money and the loss that costed only for 2 days, right? Caused for 2 days, right? It shows you how weak they are. It shows you how, like, if it wasn't for the support and protection of surrounding governments and the West and the US, right? This entity wouldn't really stand a chance for 1 week. They wouldn't really survive for 1 week, honestly.
Yep, I agree.
Simple as that. And by the way, again, I'm going to bring up in in the Quran, that's what it says about them. It says that first of all, it says that they only fight you while they are hiding behind what do you call it, fortresses. They cannot really fight you face to face. Okay, and that's exactly what they do, airstrikes and launching missiles and stuff like that, right? And it also mentions that they are so weak, and they are weaker than the spider web. They're that weak, right? It is there. It says, but all we need to do is just pull ourselves together, right? I'm talking about people. I'm talking about governments. I'm talking about whoever is involved, and just take the move. Just a global march from one side, and some missiles from some retaliation, let's say, from a country that at least at this point, Iran. Look, Iran didn't initiate this. All right, speeches. Everyone is giving speeches. This time it's Israel who initiated it. Okay, that's also, for me, that's like, hey, you know what? You picked on them, so all right, you expect a response. Simple as that, right?
Yep.
So with all these actions all together, you can see how weak they are and how easy their end is.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, that's what we have this week. That's going to be interesting to see how next week is going to turn out, because a lot of these countries, the surrounding countries, canceled flights. So this is like obviously extremely annoying for people who had travel plans or anything. And
Well, it's the people that live in Israel are not going anywhere because Iran attacked the airport. So too bad to sad.
well, what do you call it? Their main guy left. He's chilling in Cyprus. Well, he was in Cyprus or Greece chilling. I don't know where he's now. But he initiated this whole thing and he just left.
So much for protecting the promised land.
But there's other people who are going to do it. When will these people actually, just out of principle, just this alone should show to these people, people who support all of this, should show them, okay, what, like this guy is just going to leave us, he's just going to go, and we're supposed to take all of this?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, apparently that's how it is.
and I also want to mention one thing, right? You see actually people in Israel, and this is like they are celebrating because an Arab city was hit. They're literally saying, may your village burn. Like, amongst all of this, they're still celebrating. That's why I'm sorry to say that, but this strike wasn't hard enough. They didn't learn their lesson yet.
Not at all. Not at all.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do we have anything else before we close?
No, that's it. Hopefully we can see, we can update the number of missiles higher next week, or maybe the occupation retrieving, because Iran sent a message and they said like to any civilians, if you want to survive, you better pack your stuff and leave. So hopefully it's not a threat, it's a promise. So let's see.
Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Thanks, everyone. And we are still not doing the personality test, by the way, so don't wait for it.
Oh my God. Maria, you have
okay.
luck. Wow. Okay. All right. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.